Good evening, everybody. My name's Greg. I'm your host, and welcome to Mariner of a Spirit. This is our debut for 2025. Uh, we've had a lot of great shows down the road, and we've got a real special guest tonight to start off 2025, excuse me, French. But anyway, before I bring her out, I would like to mention a few things, and that's the people I support. I support Potographs with Tim Miley. Potographs is a nonprofit organization that was set up by Mr. Tim Miley when he lost his pup a while ago, quite a while ago now. And he didn't know how he was going to go ahead and be able to handle it. And he had a picture of himself and his dog and decided to go ahead and make copies and came to one of the conventions and started selling pictures of him and his pup for charity. And it continued, and now today he's still into it, and he's been doing great things. And I've had the pleasure of being at like two or three events with him for Potographs, and being in the paranormal community and doing the work he does, he's got a lot of great guests that show up, and it's been an amazing journey for him. And I'm very very glad, and I'm honored to be able to go ahead and mention his name and his organization. Secondly is PKC, Paranormal Kicks Cancer, with Chris Gaskowski and Alex Wilkinson, and they're from Florida. They're a couple from down there, and they do benefits and fundraisers for cancer research, haunted attractions, and things of this nature. And they do an awesome job too. Thirdly is the Jessica Petrie Foundation. For those that don't know who Jessica Petrie is, she was the daughter of Howard Petrie, who was the one of the people that runs PUN, or the Paranormal United Network, and he set it up. It's a foundation, and it's a resource for expectant mothers and families of pregnant women with mental illness. So that's that. And then besides that, the only other thing I want to mention is the authors that I support. And if you get the opportunity to pick up a book, and I have to add our guest's name to this list tonight, but I will start out by going ahead and saying Amelia Cotter. You got Bruce Holliday, you got Tobias Wayland, Adam Benedict, Kathy Kressel, Sherilyn Cotter, Dr. Heatherly Langdon, Ron Iacovetti, Tony Rathman, Natalie Jones, Patty Negri, Sylvia Schultz, Amelia Cotter. You see, I had her name already on the thing, and I didn't even know it. Rex Nielsen and David Sloan from down in the Keys, from down in Key West. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on my guest. This is Amelia Cotter, great, great lady. Has been in the paranormal community for a long time. You probably recognize her for some of her past work. She had a series way back in the day. Welcome, welcome, Amelia. I should have started off by
Thank
saying
you. Thank you. Great to be here. No, I love it. Keep talking.
yeah, it's great, for some of the people that don't remember back in the day. You were part of a paranormal team that was on TV back. I don't want to say how many years ago it was, but what was the name of that show? I caught
That
you.
was the RIP Files, which aired primarily in the UK on the Really Channel. And we filmed everything between like 2014 and 15. So it was quite a while ago. And then it aired like around 2016 and 17. So it's still 8 years ago at this point. So
I know that you're really, really involved with a lot of things today, and some of the things that really caught my eye. Number one was the old Baraboo Inn, and the reason I'm bringing the old Baraboo Inn in up is because
yeah.
I've had the pleasure of working there with Scotty Rourke, and Scotty's, he's my mentor, and
Oh,
he's done a lot
yeah.
of great things with me, and we've gone ahead
Yeah.
and we were there before I can't remember his initials. Who was the guy that the bartender? He had two initials.
BC?
BC.
Yeah, BC.
Thank thank you very much. BC BC was one heck of a guy, and I had the pleasure of knowing him and chit chatting and laughing and joking around with him. And we had an event there, and we had a great time. And I still have a picture of me and Scotty and
Yeah.
in the Ecto, and a couple other people, Mike Wright, and it was who else was there? Kathy from those two people were from GRS, Ghost Research Society, and then Nick Sarlo was in that picture too, I think. But that was all from Baraboo Inn, old
Oh,
Baraboo
that's
Inn.
cool. A great group.
It was it's a
Yeah.
fantastic place. I don't know why I don't end up going there more, but things have changed a lot for me and where I belong, and things like that. But we won't get into that until maybe a little later on if we have a little extra time. But I wanted to go ahead and have you go ahead and give everybody a little idea of exactly what you're up to these days. Uh, and a lot of people probably don't know
Abs-
exactly how important of a person you are in today's uh, planet. You froze. You want to try to reboot, maybe? We're
Am I
having a
back?
break. Yes, you are.
I lost connection real quick.
You got too many people talking in your building. Do you
Am I
want to?
back now? Is it better? My stupid
Yes.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Ah, all right.
Well, it happens.
Am I
So why
good?
don't you give?
Okay.
Yes.
My
Why don't you give
apologies. We'll
everybody?
chalk it up
No.
to paranormal activity. It was an interference.
Okay, that sounds good. I'll go along with that. So what have you been up to?
So when were you one-ish?
I can't hear you. I just lost you again for a minute there. You're there now.
Oh man. Oh, jeez. All right, give me one little sec. Okay. Hmm. My Wi-Fi says it's working 100%, which could be a lie. So thank you, go T-Mobile, but um, or AT&T, I guess. Is this good? Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
If you want, I would like you to go ahead and give
This is
everybody.
fun. What a
Give,
great interview. Sorry about that.
that's what it happens. You know, it's just great to have you here. If you want to give everybody a little idea of what you're up to this year before we get cut off again. And you did.
Yes. I would I would love to do that. So um the last I know, I'm sorry. This it's probably my Wi-Fi connection, which I have been having issues with both the Wi-Fi that we have in the apartment plus my phone hotspot. So I'm going to just blame the city of Chicago for this. Um, so my apologies for the weird
That's okay.
in and out. But so my things are really exciting for me right now. So I am going to be doing a follow up to the Old Bear Bruin book. I'm going to start collecting stories very soon. So actually, I'd love to get a story from you, Greg, and any of the people that you were with that night. I'll be reaching out, adding on to the stories from the first
Sure.
edition by including news stories and photos. And everybody who has had an experience at the Old Barabooin is welcome to submit. And I will also be working on another book of Chicago stories as well. So this stuff is like, these are all projects that I'm going to go public with soon. I'm sort of getting things, getting the engine warmed up because there's a lot of TV projects coming up this year as well. So I'm working with a show called History Alive, which has been getting a lot of buzz and really wonderful group of people. That is a show that is focused around telling history and folklore and ghost stories together, and it's primarily on people's experiences and histories of the location with some dramatic hunting component is sort of like secondary, and so that's where we come in. This group of investigators that they've put together. I'm really excited about that show. It's got a lot of integrity. The people that I'm working with are super fantastic. I'm very honored to have been chosen to be part of it, to have been asked, cold called last summer, which was really cool. And then I'm working with another potential show as a researcher and person of, like, what is it? Like talking head, like voice of authority type of person for a show called Parahunt. There's no lot of information out there yet about it, but there's a lot of things going on in the background. I'm excited about that as well. So my year could get really busy really fast. And I'm just happy to be doing events and just talking to people about folklore, and the legacy of lore is something that has kind of become my baby. So just me sort of exploring and sharing why we're so fascinated by ghost stories has been something I've been delving into more.
How is Jonathan? Did you hear me? No.
No, repeat one more time.
Okay. Okay. How's
Now
Jonathan
I can
doing?
hear you.
Did you hear that?
Now I hear you fine.
Okay. Did
If
you hear me? I said,
there's a
how's
ghost in the
Jonathan?
machine today. Yeah.
Okay. I know that you've put a lot of effort in the things that you've posted concerning your physical well-being and working out and everything, and you have some accomplishments that I found quite fascinating.
Oh yeah.
And what?
Like my personal
Go
health
ahead.
and everything.
Yes.
Yeah, so I everything's been fine with that. It's on a roller coaster with some of my health issues, and that was not so fun. Last year, everything I got myself together, and I have been feeling really good for about a year now. So I was diagnosed with endometriosis, and I had a lot of issues, a lot of vitamin deficiencies, and all sorts of weird things that kind of came out of that and spiraled out of that experience, in addition to how terrible that already is. And so I just had to get all of those things under control. There was a time when I was giving myself injections in the stomach of like B12 vitamin infusions and stuff. And that was not that I've ever. But now I'm feeling I have a lot of energy. I'm feeling in good shape. I've been doing, as many people know, I've been doing pole dancing and all sorts of like just taking charge of my health and my confidence in myself and everything. So I have been happy and feeling really good for the last year. So everything has stabilized.
I know you probably didn't hear, but that's how I started out when I was talking about your physical well-being as far as how far you've gone. I There's no way in heck that I could go up a pole like that. You know what I mean? Did you hear me on that?
I
No?
I didn't. Can you just repeat one more time? I'm so
Okay. I I was saying that I don't know how you could climb up a pole like that.
sorry.
She didn't go.
It took me a while. So some people pick it up right away and have no trouble with it whatsoever, and I'm very jealous of those people. But it took me a while, but it's a great feeling to pull your own body weight and just yeah, it's awesome. It's really awesome,
I know it's off the subject and everything, but I found it, extremely
and
interesting
it's a
in
great
the
community of
respect
people
that
too.
you're one heck of a strong woman. You know,
That's fine.
we're we're catching you every couple minutes. I was saying you're just a very strong woman from what I've seen.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's a new development, right? Like I was, the weak kid in gym class that never climbed the rope and never did any of the gymnastics or anything. And just a lot of the things I've been through and approaching 40 and everything, prompted me to be inspired to just kind of, have a little fun with it and try something new and something exciting and get myself in shape. So now I would say I'm in pretty good shape. Like pole dancing is for all out there who may be interested. It's a great form of exercise. It's a great sport, and it makes you feel great about yourself.
That's awesome, awesome.
And
Now,
it's a
you
great
how many
community of
books?
people. So
Sure. How many books do you have out now? I didn't even squeeze that one in. How many books do you have out now? Did you hear me? I
I
think
have
it's the
five
camera.
books out. So I got the this house, the true story of a girl and a ghost, Marilyn Ghost. Paranormal Encounters in the Street, and Where the Brain Did, Ghosts of the Bear Who. Those are my three story books. That's on the Serious Research counter. And then I've got Apparitions, which is the poetry collection, which is kind of like I deviated for a little bit to work on this poetry collection that was just something close to my heart, that I wanted to put out.
I forgot to mention the fact that you are quite a poet, and that is very interesting too, because you seem to cover a lot of area as far as all your expertises are concerned. And that's what really, I think, makes you that interesting of a person, because there's not a lot of people that could cover a lot of those areas like that. And I know now I'm doing it. Now, you're involved with the Chicago school system now? Did you hear that? You're involved with the Chicago school system
I'm like
now?
10 seconds. I'm like 5 or 10 seconds behind.
Do you
Yeah.
you want to?
So that was another thing that the job, the previous job that I had at the Lincoln Park Conservancy for my day job career was not full time. It was technically full time, but it was not enough hours, and I wanted to get back into the museum world. So, but I did an MSI, which is where I am now, which is fantastic. I was like, well, I'm going to need to have a backup plan. I'm going to need to be able to do something, because I can't stay at this location. I can't stay at this job anymore. So I got my substitute teaching license for CPS, which is really funny because I'm not a kid person. But I have had a really great time working with like youngsters. And it's been interesting. I've only done it a couple of times because I did get the full-time job at MSI. So I didn't have to, I was just going to completely pivot to something different if I had to, and just things kind of worked out. But you only have to teach once, basically once a quarter in order to maintain the license. So it's kind of cool. Like I can work full time and still go things. So, and there's a school right around the corner from us, an elementary school that I love. And so I can just walk right down the street and take some of those like subbing jobs on the days that I'm off. So I definitely have like an eclectic blend of things going on all the time, but I do what I got to do.
You do what you got to do. That's amazing. Now you went to Gettysburg.
Right. Well, yeah, right. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
How did you like? How did you went
I
to?
did.
You did the
That was super
convention
cool.
there,
Yeah,
right?
the first ever paranormal research symposium.
How did you find it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it was really fantastic. So that was their first paranormal research symposium there from the Association of Paranormal Study, which is Alex Matsuo's organization that she works with. And I had a great time. I met really cool people. I also saw a lot of people that I already know. So a lot of folks that were there to help with the event were people that work with Troy Taylor on the Haunted America conference. So I was like, oh, hey, I know you guys. Yeah. And so that was pretty cool. And then a few people came out, like Mike Mario came out because he was already there for something else, and so it was just kind of neat to come together with folks and do that. And I grew up near Gettysburg, so I explored Gettysburg a lot when I was younger and when I was a kid. So of course, it was like a dream come true to be at that event and to speak there and be part of it and everything. Sam Baltrusis was there. He came to my talk, which was like a big full circle moment for me because I've been a big fan of his for so many years. And then I didn't know he was going to be there, which is good because I would have been nervous. And then like he showed up at my talk. He was like, "Oh, I've been waiting to meet you and listen to you speak." And I just had one of those like heart, fluttering like fangirl moments. It was really awesome.
I know Sam. I haven't met him in person yet, but I've had him on my show, and he's just a gentleman, and he's a great psychic, and he works with people, and he does a great job, and he has the
Oh,
patience
cool.
of a saint. And I know that the reason I asked you about
Yeah.
Gettysburg is
He's,
because
yeah.
I love Gettysburg too. And there were places I was there. I've been there twice, and both of them were with Dale Kazmarek back in the day. But I,
Oh, cool.
what was your favorite place there in the battlefield? Do you have a
Um,
favorite?
I think Devil's Den is like a place that really resonates with me. It's yeah, like the Devil's Den area just resonates with me, and it's really beautiful, and there's a beautiful view there, and it's very like moving spot.
You see, mine
I
is
love
the
that part
triangle.
of it. And then as for Gettysburg itself, the Farnsworth House hotel I've always loved. I stayed there once. I stayed there once with a friend where we were the only guests there that night. It was off season. I don't think that happens anymore now that it's this really super popular tourist destination. But and that was a long time ago. It was a lot of fun and beautiful.
I know when we were talking about Devil's Den, mine has always been the triangular field right below it. And
Yeah. Yeah.
Rosemary Eileen Golly was with us, and her and her husband and I were walking down the field, and I went over to the. And if you ever go back again, I don't know if you're familiar with the spot, but it's on the tree line going down, and it's a big giant granite rock that's pretty flat to the ground, and it has some boulders in the corners of it, with pieces shot out of it. But I set up all my gear there,
Yeah.
and they went all the way down to the creek, down in the bottom of the valley there. And I can remember going ahead and actually they came out for me. They were all in the woods,
Oh, wow.
all the Confederate soldiers. I asked them to come out because I said I'm a vet too, and I held my hands out, and they were there. They came out, and it was a extremely moving moment for me
Wow.
because of I have to I've been telling people that ever since it happened, that this is the kind of thing that really, it solidifies a lot of
Yeah.
things for me as far as the war is concerned, and their war, and you know I I was all for them. I'm all for all of them. It doesn't make any difference to me if they were north or south. They were soldiers. And to me that's a very, very important part. I know that.
Yeah. I.
Go ahead. I still lost your pic. There you go. You're back on the picture.
Sorry, I can see myself. It's so weird because I can see you, but I'm like 10 seconds behind what you're saying. But I'm
Okay.
here. I'm with you.
I I get super anxious. You know, I have such a wonderful person on tonight, and it's
Oh,
like
now
I'm
you're
just
going.
chomping
There
at the
is
bit. Like, you know what I mean? But
shenanigans
it's
afoot.
there was a woman. There's April Mueller in the comment section said,
Yeah.
did you read that? She says she was talking about doesn't have enough wide bandwidth for a live stream. You can try turning off the camera to see if that helps, but I don't know if that's going to work. But you and another place you've been to that I always liked was the Fowler Theater.
Mm.
Did you spend a lot of time there?
So, one evening, so we split our evening between the Fowler Theater and the old Benton County Jail. And the Fowler Theater was just beautiful. That was like our home base. And we were there with Dwight, who I think everybody knows went there, and he's the main guy, and he's super fun
Right.
and knowledgeable and lovely. And it was just such a neat place with such cool history, and I loved it. I didn't experience a particularly high volume of activity there. We had some more interesting experiences over at the jail that particular night. But I think like while we were gone at the jail filming and checking things out over there, Dwight was still at the theater and he was having activity happen while we were gone, which was funny. It was like voices and noises and things happening while we weren't there, and then when we came back it quieted down again, so which is, typical. So but yeah, it was just so, it was so neat. And then just something that was an interesting bonus was that at the very end of the night when we were packing up everything getting ready to go back to the hotel, drive back, there was a coyote walking right down the middle of the street, just down the middle of the center street there. And it was just a neat image, I guess, of this like small town America, right? Like small town Indiana. And there's just a coyote cruising down the street in the middle of the night. And then when it saw us, it scampered away.
Wow, that had to be pretty cool. I know that when we talk about places that we've been to and things that we remember on different locations,
Yeah.
it's always great to have something like that because maybe it wasn't a coyote.
Yeah, somebody mentioned that. They were like, "Huh, you know, there was a lot of magic in the air that night. A lot of feelings, a lot of deep feelings, and all good feelings too. Between everybody, and then a lot of strong feelings for the Fowler Theater, which is so loved, and then the old Benton County Jail, which is in trouble now. They're thinking of trying to tear it down, and they're trying to rescue it. There's a petition out there from Dwight to save the old Benton County Jail. It was just such a neat place. I was down in the basement looking at the old ledgers. They had old prison ledgers that predated the prison itself that showed why people were booked in 1830s all the way back to the 1830s. And it was just such a neat place and such a treasure trove of history. And the old Benton County Jail was the oldest continuously running jail in Indiana until like the mid 90s. um,
Wow.
and so it's kind of frozen in time also, where yeah, it's just such a neat place. And that Fowler, Indiana is just such a cool place too. And that's why one of the reasons I love doing these adventures with investigators and ghost hunters and have you just get to see all of these places. There's all the big ticket items out there, all the famous places and big cities, but then you these awesome bits and pieces of history that are so just incredible to me.
Oh, that's really great. And I can remember, I want to say that isn't that the theater where some little boy was shot with a BB gun or something and he died? Is that the same theater?
I've heard that story. I don't know. Huh, that's a good question.
He was
I'll have to
isn't the
follow
theater
up on that. That
isn't
wasn't,
the
I don't
theater's
remember that
upstairs?
from the Fowler Theater. The Fowler Theater, there was a person who one of the managers that worked there had died by suicide later, and there was a train accident that happened right in front of the theater, like right across the way. And there
Oh,
was a
okay.
hotel that was where the theater had been previously, and maybe that is where that story came from. Because what you're saying rings a bell, but I cannot say for sure.
I think that they said it was a Boy Scout or Cub Scout type event. They were showing rifle safety or whatever it was, and somebody had pointed the gun at him and pulled the
Oh
trigger, and he ended up dying. But I'm trying to remember exactly because wasn't
my
there like a
gosh!
saloon? Wasn't there like a saloon on the first
Oh
floor,
my god!
and the theater was upstairs? Correct.
I'm not sure. This is homework for me. I need to go look into this.
Yeah, that's it. I'm trying to think of the other place that we went to that night. I know that something it it could be a different theater too for me, but I think it's the Fowler because we were at the Fowler Theater. They have a stage that had it was on
Hmm.
the second floor, and they had a video. Did they have like a video a room up in the back?
Yeah, there's like a small projection room on the second floor.
Yeah, and that's where those
In the
seats were.
upper, yeah, in the back upper area, or I guess in the technically it's in the front upper area.
Right. So it's the same place. We
Huh.
had things that were happening to us right there. And this
That's
is when
crazy. That is wild.
remember you remember Stan Soho, that was Dale Kazmarek's friend, the old guy with the straw hat. He passed about
Yeah, okay.
about 3 years ago, I think it was now. But we used to do that, and then we used to do the Robin Terry, the Haunted Theater in it was Lost Limbs, and it was over in south of Springfield. I can't remember the name of the town, and that's it was owned by Robin
Okay,
though,
yeah, that rings a bell. Yeah,
and we used
I
to do
gotcha.
that one. We used to do that one every year too. So we have quite a few years of that, and now Robin quit doing that. Now he's no longer doing his Lost Limbs thing. They stopped doing all that. So
Okay.
which is I sort of feel bad for Mike. Mike Couch, sort of like his retirement, but that was crazy. But now, and then another thing that I noticed on
Yeah.
you that I never mentioned to you last time I talked to you was you were at the University of Heidelberg. Did you get that or
All
not?
right, you froze again. Can you ask that one more
I,
time? No, I
okay.
heard
Did
you
you go?
say, I heard you say, there's another thing I always meant to ask you, and then you totally cut out.
It was the you were at the University of Heidelberg, weren't you? I'm not. This is crazy. Why are we freezing up like this?
I still
It's
didn't
got
hear your question. Okay, one more time.
okay.
One more
Okay,
time.
you were at the University of Heidelberg.
Isn't that crazy? I know. It's so funny.
You didn't hear that? Well, you probably will
Yes,
now.
University. Okay, I heard University of Heidelberg. I'm with you.
Okay.
Yes. I was there from
How,
2005 to 2006.
wow. Did you go to that old across the road from the old castle that was right on the river? The one that was sort of destroyed. There was the Red Ox Inn. Did you ever go in there?
So the places that I went to in Heidelberg were I visited the castle there, the Schloss Heidelberg, which was just as a tourist. And then by nightfall, I visited way at the top of the hill in the center of Heidelberg, on the other side, across from the river, from the main kind of historic downtown area, the main part there. There was an old Nazi amphitheater that they had built that was abandoned, that was like a popular destination for urban explorers and to go check out. They had a lot of everybody in Heidelberg to, get hip to Hitler's ideas, because everybody there was very like liberal minded and worldly, and they did not want to participate in the Third Reich, and so they built this amphitheater specifically to kind of see if they could get people hyped about it, and it was really neat, overgrown, sort of very creepy place. And behind that on the hill was an old Celtic ruin that had a cathedral built over it that had also, been lost to time. And so you just had this ruin of this old sort of Celtic site there. It was really cool. And the night that I went with my friends, there were a lot of people there, not like a ton of people, but there were like 20 people there, kind of spread out throughout the area, just like lighting candles, sort of sitting, talking quietly. It was very sort of very quiet, very like respectful gathering of people that were just sort of like communing with this whole big weird space up there. And that was exciting. Those are the only places I visited that were in like a sort of like a ghost hunting capacity.
Okay. That's why originally I asked about the Red Ox Inn because that was that place across from the big castle that was right off the river. And we stayed overnight there
Yeah.
because we got in there late and they put us in a room that was probably about 10 by 10. And they gave us a comforter to put on the
Wow.
bed that was probably about maybe a foot thick, and it was like going into a giant uh, bear hide
Oh man.
because it was so warm. But Red Ox Inn was the place that Winston Churchill had signed the wall in the bar, and we were at
Oof.
that booth spot that he actually signed it. A lot of people signed the wall in that place. I was just curious if you have
Oh,
remembered that place because it goes way
I
back.
never went there. I wish that I would have. I'm just hearing about this for the first time. That would have been awesome. I don't think I visited that place.
Yeah, we
When
had we
when
had
did you
friends.
go? You might have said this, but with
Uh, Probably 75. '76. It was after the war, and I had friends that were
Okay,
still
cool.
in the service over there. One of them was in Frankfurt, the other one was down in Munich. So, we stayed in Munich. We were there for like five
Gotcha.
weeks. We were all over the place. We were in Italy, Austria.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, wow.
but I love the Autobahn. That was exciting. I mean, that was the first time I ever.
Yeah.
My friend was
Yeah.
my my friend was driving his car, and we were talking, and he goes, look in the mirror, and you see that set of headlights way back there, and you can see the headlights flash. And I says, why is he flashing his headlights? And he says, because he's going to pass us.
Yeah.
And I says, he's not even remotely close. And the next thing I know, about 5 seconds later, he went by us like we were standing still. It was like, you got him. Jeez.
I
And it was
was
raining
that
out.
is so funny that you said that because that's how I remember it too, is that like you could you could drive like a normal person or you could speed like a maniac. And the etiquette there is that if you're gonna come fast, coming in the fast lane and you just flash those high beams so everybody knows to get out of the way and that you're coming in hot. And yeah, I remember seeing that just like zoom, zoom, zoom. Because a lot of times, my experience was that you would just drive normal highway speed, but but then there was that the people who really wanted to go, they could go if they as long as you follow that etiquette. And like the Germans, of course, are really good with that stuff. So the one thing that was always spooky in Germany, I know it happens here occasionally, but I remember hearing a lot of stories about people that would get on the highway in the wrong direction and start driving in the wrong direction. I don't know if it's just easier. I was on drive at the time, somebody else was all the time. I just got to be the passenger having a good time. I don't know if it's just easier to accidentally get on the wrong side of the highway, but they had a lot of problems with that. And that would be usually late at night and everything, and the police would come and everything would be taken care of. But yeah, the Autobahn was a very interesting experience.
That's for sure. But that's really, really neat. I'm really glad. I'm really glad. And I'm just going to go back to the beginning. I'm really glad that you have this role on this series, and I'm looking forward to watching it. And I think everybody that knows of you is going to take the time to make sure they watch it because you've always been very, very thorough as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah.
I've always enjoyed, you know, running into you and talking to you because you always kept your train of thought, not like me, because I'm all over the place. You know, I get crazy sometime, and I get on something, and I keep on going with it. So it's part of my generation, I think. I should say, but so
Of your
are
charm.
you?
It's who you, it's
It's what? No, we do this again?
all right.
Jeez.
Once again, I'm behind the question. Ask one more time. Sorry.
I just found it interesting that how
There's
you could
some
go ahead.
little gremlins in our laptops tonight.
Well, this is a regular computer, and it's like crazy. This is the first time this has ever happened to me. I mean, in a bunch of years, but it's interesting to see.
Something's going on. Yeah, because my computer, I don't. Yeah,
Am I
it's weird.
freezing? Am I
My
freezing? Am I
Wi-Fi can be
freezing
a little
too?
spotty, but nothing like this. So it's yeah. But I'm sorry. What was you were saying?
I are you?
Yeah,
You're
it's been
you.
both of us the whole time, like coming in and out.
Okay. we're going to have to do this again for sure, and I'm going to make sure that I get you back on, down the road here before
Oh
you get
yeah,
really. How you're going to be really involved with that series, though, aren't you?
of course.
Is that going to take Is that going to take a lot of your time up?
Yeah, the I think this year's gonna take off. Yeah,
So you're gonna probably be home
yeah.
very few times.
I'm interested to see how things are gonna kind of shake out.
Have you worked with all those people before, though? I think you mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, so I knew Kara and I knew Pete. I had met Pete once before, um, and but I had never met Lee and Jamie. And I had known Darren because he had reached out to me and Kara about being on the show. So it was just kind of, um, and the crew is fantastic as well. And I knew one of the crew members as well, Anna Ace Ortiz, who's like super fantastic journalist as well. And so I had a little bit of that guidance coming in, but then the chemistry between everybody was just so fantastic. Like it's rare when people that you connect with so well, and it just makes because I just loved it was everything so right about it, and I think it's going to be a good show too. Like I mean, all ghost shows are ghost shows. At this, I feel like there's a lot of love and heart and energy that's going into this. So that makes me feel good about being part of it.
Well, that's amazing. That's the part that really it sort of sells it. You know what I mean? Ahead of time, and I'm glad that I've had the opportunity to have you on, even though we've gone through this. It could be drones too. If you think about it, we could have drones over us. She didn't catch that.
Yeah.
Did you hear what I said about
Doo-doo-doo-doo.
the drone? The drones. God, I have a couple of people that work
No,
on one of
I
my other.
first
Go ahead. It's all you. Can
the,
you hear me now?
the funniest thing about this interview is that I did you hear me or did you get that? The actual question is like lost in space. I'm like, why can't? So yes, I think the universe is having a little laugh at our expense tonight.
You think it's drones? Did you hear that part? That's crazy. But that is really great. I
Yeah,
for
I
some
did. I
reason
heard that part, and then a helicopter flew over the exact that you said that, and I was like, "Ooh."
I met Kara Phillips at Joliet at at the prison, and also met her at Broadhead Manor because we've all been together there, and
She's awesome. I love Kara to pieces. Yeah.
very very nice lady, amazing. They're all rated below you though, because you're
Hmm.
still right up there at the top. I know. Did you
Thank you.
freeze now?
Go on.
Okay,
Do go on.
do go on.
I really appreciate that, Greg. You're like my
I
one of my number one. I appreciate
I
that. Really, I thank you
I
so much.
when we always talked together and everything, it was so neat. It was like old home week, and that makes all the difference in the world about people. If you're comfortable with them,
Yeah.
it's not there's nothing stuffy about you. You're legitimate 100%. You know what I mean? And I just caught you again.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know if that wording was correct, but that's I'm a Lake County
Sorry.
guy. You
I've,
know,
I've been hearing you though. I appreciate all your words. Yeah.
yeah, that's what you know. I'm from up in Lake County by the Fox chain, so that's the way I am. That's what makes the difference. And we've got some great spots. And if I get the opportunity,
It's a
if
cool
you'd
area.
like,
Yeah, it's
I
up there too.
I I can get you. I can invite you up with about three other people from the old GRS group to do an investigation up here too. I've got a couple historical societies. So if you'd like to join on, and it would
Hmm.
be a short night, it would be like 3 hours. But if you ever, I'll go ahead and message you, and we'll take
Oh
it from
yeah.
there.
Oh yeah.
That would be interesting. It really would. I have a lot of stories from up here, and it's just great.
Oh,
So and
that
I've
sounds awesome.
it would be neat to
Yeah.
share it with you know. So you want to get off at 10 o'clock, right? It's been amazing. I'm sorry that we
Yeah,
had
just
this issue
about.
tonight.
Um, but yeah, I would love to. I would love to come up and join for something sometime. That sounds awesome.
It's really good. It's all laid back.
I
It's
love Lake
just
County.
guy. It's that's where I came when we
It sounds fun. Yeah.
76. So it's been awesome having you on. I apologize for all if this was on part of, and it's both of us. I think it could be just the weather too. That's affected us. So what? I just want to say thank you for being here, and
Yeah.
we'll make another show out of it. Sooner the better this time. As long as we get rid
I
of
hope that I'm gonna.
the
I'll watch this back and just see. You know, um, if I'm sure that like maybe the finished product will look fine. It'll just be the conversation is like off kilter. But yes, I it is weird because like occasionally I'll have interviews. I do interviews a lot like at home and everything, and occasionally I'll have like issues with Wi-Fi and I work them out before. I do hotspots and to the router, to the router and all that good stuff. And so, yeah, tonight is just bizarre, but I really appreciate you having me on, and I hope to see you also at one of the events coming up this year. So it'd be great to hang out again.
Are you going to do the paranormal rock down or whatever it is up at Broadhead?
No, I not so far, but that could change too. No, I don't. I mean, I don't think I'll be
Because we
there.
got
I will be at the I'll be at the paranormal convention and the the esoteric expo that's going to be out at the
if you want to write all those
I forget what it's
events that you
called.
just if you just write the
Um,
events that you're going to be at this
and then
year,
probably
so
the Milwaukee Paracon and those the usual events that I try to get to every year.
I
As well as
haven't been
Days
to
of the Dead in
Milwaukee.
Chicago, but I know it's hard for you to get into the city proper.
Yeah, but I will go ahead and let you go. It's been awesome having you. It's always a pleasure. You make my night, and we will talk later on. I don't think there's
That'd be
any way that we talk at the end of this. Maybe once we kill the stream, maybe it'll work. But I don't know if it will. But I'm gonna end the show, and I
Yeah,
hope to.
if you turn off the live stream and then it works, I'm going to be so mad, right?
Okay, give me a minute, and I'll say goodnight to everybody, and then we'll take it from there. Okay. I'll try to end it. Good night, everybody. Welcome. Glad you're all here,
Okay.
Irene and April and all our regulars. It's been awesome. And